A shocking story recently exploded online, grabbing the attention of millions almost overnight. It spread like wildfire across social media platforms, with people sharing it in group chats, on Facebook, and even in workplace conversations. The story claimed Ford was shutting down all its US factories and moving operations overseas, suggesting a massive shift that would impact thousands of American jobs and communities. The rumor pointed fingers at tariffs imposed by former President Trump, blaming his trade policies for forcing Ford's supposed decision to leave the country. But none of it was true. There was no basis in reality. Fact-checkers quickly debunked the claims, finding no evidence to support the story. The misinformation spread through YouTube channels posing as automotive news, like Auto Central and Auto Edge, which used dramatic headlines, urgent music, and eye-catching visuals to draw viewers in and make the story seem credible. These videos racked up views fast, showing how social media can amplify falsehoods. Within hours, the story was trending, and people everywhere were talking about it. The channels behind these stories have a track record of publishing similar fake news about major companies, often targeting well-known brands to maximize clicks and ad revenue. Their tactics, alarming language, dramatic visuals, and urgent calls to action, fooled many into believing a real crisis was unfolding, causing confusion and panic. This created unnecessary worry for Ford employees, investors, and the public, with some even fearing for their livelihoods and financial security. The story started with a fabrication, packaged into a punchy video and pushed by algorithms to millions of unsuspecting viewers, making it seem more legitimate with every share. Concerned viewers engaged with the content, leaving comments, sharing their fears, and spreading the video further, signaling its popularity and fueling its rapid spread. This cycle shows how easily misinformation can spiral out of control online, reaching far beyond its original source and affecting real lives. It's a powerful reminder to question viral stories before believing or sharing them. Taking a moment to verify information can help stop the spread of falsehoods and protect our communities from unnecessary panic. The Ford shutdown videos weren't made by journalists. They were AI generated. AI wrote the scripts, voiced the narration, and even created the thumbnails. These thumbnails were designed to be dramatic and irresistible, luring viewers in. The videos used doctored images, fake news graphics, and text banners to mimic real news broadcasts. Manipulated photos of Ford's CEO and former President Trump added to the deception. There were no disclaimers. Nothing to indicate the content was fake or AI generated. Fact-checkers quickly identified the telltale signs of AI authorship. When questioned, the channels behind the videos stayed silent. The ease of creating convincing fake news with AI is a new and dangerous challenge. Anyone can now produce high-quality deceptive content in minutes. As AI advances, distinguishing fact from fiction online will only get harder. The responsibility to verify what we watch and share is more important than ever. Fact-checkers moved fast to debunk the viral Ford rumors. Ford made no announcements about closing US factories or moving production overseas. The company's manufacturing remains firmly rooted in America. While Ford has made some logistical tweaks to manage rising costs from tariffs, these are normal business adjustments, not signs of a shutdown. Such changes help Ford absorb financial pressures and keep production stable. When Snopes investigated, Ford hadn't issued any statements about closures because there weren't any. Major corporations are legally required to disclose big changes, and Ford's silence spoke volumes. Companies like Ford routinely adjust operations to improve efficiency or respond to market shifts. Temporary shutdowns for retooling or shifting production between plants are standard practice. The fake news twisted these routine actions into a false narrative of collapse. It's crucial to separate normal business strategy from sensationalized rumors. Ford's continued operations debunk the shutdown myth. Don't let viral stories distort the reality of how big companies operate. While the shutdown rumors were false, Ford is battling real supply chain headaches that are causing major disruptions behind the scenes. The company is facing a perfect storm of challenges that threaten to slow down its legendary assembly lines. CEO Jim Farley has described the situation as a daily struggle just to keep production moving. Every day brings new obstacles, from missing shipments to unexpected delays, making it a constant race against time to keep the factories running. At times, Ford has had to temporarily halt factories and pause vehicle production due to shortages of critical components. These pauses can last days or even weeks, costing the company millions and leaving workers idle. The main culprit, heavy reliance on China for rare earth minerals, which are absolutely essential for building modern cars and electric vehicles. These minerals power everything from batteries to advanced electronics. Any disruption in supply from China, whether due to geopolitical tensions or shipping delays, can instantly impact Ford's ability to build vehicles and meet customer demand. These problems aren't unique to Ford. The entire auto industry is feeling the strain. Automakers everywhere are scrambling to secure parts and keep their own production lines moving. A single missing part, like a chip or a specific plastic, can stop an entire assembly line in its tracks. It's a domino effect. One small shortage can halt the production of thousands of vehicles. The just-in-time manufacturing system is efficient, reducing waste and costs, but it's also incredibly fragile. There's little room for error or delay, making the system vulnerable to even minor disruptions. Recent global events, from the pandemic to international conflicts, have exposed this vulnerability, forcing automakers to rethink and redesign their supply chains for greater resilience. Ford's leadership is working non-stop to navigate these challenges, holding emergency meetings and developing new strategies to adapt to the rapidly changing landscape. The complexity of sourcing thousands of parts from around the world is a daily balancing act, requiring constant coordination and quick decision-making to avoid costly delays. The supply chain crisis is real, and it's reshaping how Ford and others build cars, pushing the industry to innovate and find new ways to stay ahead in an unpredictable world. The US-China trade war is a major driver of Ford's supply chain woes. Tariffs imposed by both countries created uncertainty and raised costs for American companies. For Ford, which relies on global parts and overseas factories, this was a huge problem. Tariffs made importing components from China much more expensive. The constant changes in trade rules made long-term planning nearly impossible. Ford's dependence on Chinese suppliers for critical materials, like rare earth minerals, increased the risk. The trade war exposed the dangers of relying on a single country for key resources. Automakers began rethinking their sourcing strategies to protect against future disruptions. For consumers, higher costs for Ford mean higher car prices. Unstable production can also lead to temporary layoffs, affecting workers and communities. Trade policies made in Washington and Beijing have real consequences on American factory floors. The ripple effects of these tensions are felt by everyone, from workers to car buyers. Ford CEO Jim Farley has issued a stark warning. The imposition of additional tariffs could have a significant and damaging impact on the company's operations and future growth. Farley points out that Ford can't simply move all its production back to the United States, even if it wanted to. The company currently lacks the extra manufacturing capacity and infrastructure needed to handle such a massive shift. Ford's global structure, with factories and supply chains spread across continents, makes it especially vulnerable to trade penalties and sudden changes in international policy. If more tariffs are introduced, Ford's costs would inevitably rise. This could force the company to either increase car prices for consumers or accept lower profits, both of which could hurt its competitiveness. Farley emphasizes that Ford is deeply intertwined with the global market, relying heavily on both imported parts and finished vehicles to keep its business running smoothly and efficiently. Despite these significant risks, Ford isn't just sitting back and hoping for the best. The company is proactively developing strategies to adapt to the changing landscape. Ford is actively engaging with both US and Chinese officials, working to stabilize its supply chains and advocate for more predictable, stable trade policies that benefit the industry as a whole. The company's leadership is focused on finding a sustainable path forward, balancing immediate challenges with long-term vision and resilience. This situation highlights a key reality. While global integration makes companies like Ford more efficient and innovative, it also leaves them exposed to the risks of political and economic conflict between nations. In today's world, CEOs must be more than just business leaders. They must also act as diplomats, navigating complex international relationships and regulations. Ford's future success will depend on how well it manages these powerful geopolitical forces, adapting quickly to new realities and protecting its global interests. Building great cars is only part of the challenge for Ford. Navigating the unpredictable world of global politics is now just as critical to the company's survival and growth. Ford's challenges go beyond supply chains and tariffs. A massive vehicle recall recently affected over 1 million customers, costing money and damaging the brand's reputation. The closure of a Ford dealership, though isolated, fueled negative perceptions about the company's stability. These incidents, combined with ongoing production struggles, paint a picture of a company under pressure. Managing real setbacks while fighting fake news requires strong leadership and clear communication. It's important to separate genuine business challenges from fabricated crises. Recalls and dealership closures are tough, but they're not signs of collapse. Ford must reassure customers, investors, and employees about its future. Real problems deserve real solutions, not sensationalized rumors. Understanding the difference is key to seeing the true state of the company. Despite setbacks, Ford's CEO Jim Farley is optimistic about the future. A new US-China trade deal offers hope for easing supply chain disruptions. Stable trade relations could mean more predictable access to essential materials. Ford is working closely with both governments to secure its supply lines and avoid new trade barriers. The company's proactive approach aims to restore normal production levels. Recent positive developments provide a potential path forward. Ford's leadership is focused on turning challenges into opportunities for recovery. The company has weathered many storms in its history, and is determined to do so again. For workers and customers, this renewed optimism is a welcome sign. The road ahead may be tough, but Ford is steering toward a more stable future. The fake Ford shutdown story is a lesson in the dangers of digital misinformation. AI-generated videos can look convincing but lack disclaimers and mislead viewers. This episode highlights the need for fact-checking and skepticism online. Before sharing shocking news, check credible sources and independent fact-checkers. A few minutes of research can prevent the spread of harmful rumors. While Ford faces real challenges, fake news only clouds the real issues. Misinformation distracts from meaningful conversations about the economy and manufacturing. Critical thinking is our best defense against viral falsehoods. Be skeptical of headlines that seem too dramatic to be true. The health of public discourse depends on our ability to separate fact from fiction. In a world of AI-generated news, our vigilance matters more than ever.